him in now. The outgoing Conservative Party leader, Andrew Scheer, is in Ottawa, where MPs reconvene for the day. We just talked to Kevin Lamoureux, sir. Before we start that, I just want to give you an opportunity to say something about this horrific mass shooting in Nova Scotia. I'm sure you share all our condolences. I'll get to the parliamentary debate, but any message to the people of Nova Scotia and around the country?
Oh, just an incredible amount of sympathy. You're right to point out that this is something that we've all taken a pause from here on Parliament Hill. We all acknowledged the tragedy that occurred. I cannot imagine the grief that people are going through in Nova Scotia, people who are affected by this. And of course, the heartbreaking reports of the loss of an RCMP officer on duty. It's just tragic. And so to everyone in Nova Scotia who is affected by this, just know that every Canadian across the country is with you and sending our thoughts and prayers to you.
Well said, sir. Okay, let's talk about what's going on, accountability. There was a need for some kind of consensus on how to hold the government accountable and in-person sittings, as we've spoken about. Obviously, there was not unanimous consensus, but there was a majority consensus to the Liberal motion to hold one in-person sitting a week, Wednesdays, with additional virtual sittings as the digital infrastructure is built. The Bloc, the NDP, the Liberals like it. Why not the Conservatives? What's the problem in the midst of COVID-19 with using technology for virtual sittings?
Well, we've always said that we're supportive of the idea of implementing those tools once they become available, tested, and shown that they can actually do the job. The problem is that we can't wait. And I heard Mr. Lamoureux talking about his respect for Parliament. It seems like the more the Liberals say that, the more tools they take away from Parliament. We saw this originally with their first piece of legislation to respond to the crisis. Their attempted power grab, we had to stop them from doing that. We wanted at least 2 days. By the end of it, we were offering, okay, give us a second day. Just one day is not enough in this cycle. Their programs and policies change day to day. They're constantly updating them and changing the nature of them. We believe that having accountability built in throughout the week is essential.
Okay, and I get that, but why? Look, you and I are talking over virtual technology. You've probably had as many Zoom calls as I have. Why can't you have accountability, virtual accountability? What difference? People could watch it. You could ask the Prime Minister questions, but you don't put anybody in danger. Why not embrace that technology in this specific time?
Well, first of all, as I said, those tools are not yet available. The government's talking about potentially implementing that as late as May. This pandemic is happening in real time. The consequences of it are happening in real time. People are going through a great deal of hardship in real time. Nothing really replaces that in-person accountability session where members of Parliament can go back and forth directly to the other ministers. And the onus is really on the government to explain why that can't happen. We've seen it today. We've seen a very thorough debate throughout the day on the government's proposal to eliminate 80% of the parliamentary sittings. We don't believe this is a time for less accountability. We believe it's time for more accountability. We can do this in a responsible way.
But I understand that. But you can, but you and I both know people are you got to walk the walk. You saw the blowback you got when you got on a plane with your family and you traveled to Ottawa. You saw the blowback when Mr. Trudeau went to Harrington Lake. If the leaders are not modeling the behavior that Canadians are supposed to be doing, won't that undermine what we're all being asked to do? So why not? And I regard Parliament as an essential service as well. But why not just have one sitting and then use that virtual technology to broadcast it without endangering the staff or anybody else and acting like the role models that Canadians maybe are looking for?
Well, again, Evan, it's a question of capacity. It's a question of whether or not that is even possible in the here and now. We would like to be sitting tomorrow. We have more questions that we'd like to get out. We'd like to see what the government announces on Monday and changes on Tuesday. We'd like to provide that on an ongoing basis. And we said we can do both of those things. If ministers can go to the grocery store, if ministers can provide briefings to the House, briefings to the media every day. Justin Trudeau's out every day. His ministers are out several times a week, often in this very building that I'm in right now, with people in the room, with staff in the room. If all of that can happen, then why not allow for the constitutionally mandated institution that is designed to make sure that governments get things right? And I have still, when I'm looking at the chamber today, seeing less than 40 MPs spaced out far apart, no cafeteria services, reduced services for MPs, we believe that we can accomplish both of those goals.
Right. Right. Okay. And I don't know how long this is going to go for. I know they're sitting until May 25th. I mean, the one last thing I'll say is, does that privilege members of Parliament who live in close proximity to Ottawa? In other words, if you're in Nunavut, if you're in BC, if you're in Alberta, if you're in Newfoundland, Labrador, do we really want to make those people have less representation in person than everybody else? Does it privilege Central Canada, which is a problem?
Well, we've dealt with that as a caucus. We've made sure that members who are here are asking questions on behalf of their colleagues who are in areas where it's more difficult to come to, or on behalf of MPs who feel that it would not be appropriate for them to leave their homes right now. That's something that we've managed as a caucus. I believe every caucus has the capacity to do that. And then at the end of the day, Evan, I just continue to believe we've seen evidence of when the government has to include the opposition party, we get better results for Canadians. It's already happened twice. We don't know why Justin Trudeau is fighting so hard against this. I will point out that today's sittings would have happened anyway. The House needed to decide on a work plan, either ours or the government's. So this line from Justin Trudeau yesterday that all 338 MPs were going to have to come back to Ottawa, it was completely bogus, completely misleading, undermines his credibility when he knows that it's just not the truth.
Right. Although Elizabeth May told me that there was no need to even come back today at all. But listen, there's a lot of debate about, I think accountability is critical, and we'll find out if it's enough. Mr. Scheer, I always appreciate seeing you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.